You feel it in your chest. You feel it in your stomach. But the real damage is happening inside your skull. Stress is not just a feeling. It is a full biological event that physically changes the structure of your brain. Every time you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or under pressure, a chain reaction fires inside your brain that your body was never designed to handle daily. Most people think stress is just part of modern life, something you push through, something you survive. But neuroscientists have discovered something deeply alarming. Chronic stress does not just affect how you feel, it physically shrinks your brain, it kills brain cells, it rewires your thinking, it changes who you are at a neurological level. And the most terrifying part, it is happening silently. You cannot feel it, you cannot see it, until the damage is already done. This is what stress really does inside your skull, every single time you feel it. To understand stress damage, you first need to meet the three key players inside your brain. First, the amygdala. This is your brain's alarm system. It detects threats and triggers your stress response in milliseconds. Second, the hippocampus. This is your memory and learning center. It helps you think clearly, remember things, and regulate your emotions. Third, the prefrontal cortex. This is your rational brain, the part that makes decisions, controls impulses, and keeps you calm under pressure. When these three regions work in balance, you think clearly, feel stable, and handle challenges with control. But when chronic stress enters the picture, this balance is completely and violently destroyed. The moment your brain detects a threat, real or imagined, the amygdala fires an emergency signal. Throughout your entire body, your adrenal glands flood your bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline, your body's emergency fuel. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tense, your breathing quickens, your body is preparing to fight or run for your life. This response was designed for short bursts, a predator attack, a physical danger, a life or death moment lasting seconds or minutes. But today, your stress response fires for emails, for traffic, for bills, for arguments, for deadlines, for things that will never actually kill you. And when that emergency system runs all day every day, it stops being emergency fuel. It becomes poison. Here is where the real brain damage begins. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is directly toxic to your hippocampus at high chronic levels. Studies show that people with chronic stress have a measurably smaller hippocampus than people with low stress levels. A shrinking hippocampus means your memory gets worse, learning becomes harder, emotional regulation starts to collapse. This is why chronically stressed people forget things constantly, lose their train of thought, feel mentally foggy every single day. Chronic stress literally makes you less intelligent, not permanently, but measurably and consistently while it continues. And the longer the stress continues, the more the hippocampus shrinks. Some of this damage can become permanent. While chronic stress shrinks your hippocampus, it does the exact opposite to your amygdala. It makes it bigger, stronger, more reactive. A hyperactive amygdala means you see threats everywhere. Small problems feel catastrophic. Neutral situations feel dangerous. Your emotional reactions become faster, stronger, and harder to control. You snap more easily. You worry more intensely. You recover more slowly. This is not a personality problem. This is your amygdala physically enlarged by chronic stress, running your life instead of your rational brain. At the same time, chronic stress is quietly shutting down your prefrontal cortex. Your thinking brain goes dark. The prefrontal cortex controls your ability to think logically, make good decisions, control impulses, and see the big picture. When it goes offline under chronic stress, you make worse decisions. You react instead of responding. You lose perspective entirely. This is why stressed people say things they regret, make financial mistakes, destroy relationships. The rational brain is simply not in charge anymore. Under chronic stress, your brain literally reorganizes itself, giving more power to the emotional alarm system and less to rational thought. Here is something that should stop you cold. Chronic stress does not just change your brain, it kills neurons, actual brain cells. High cortisol levels reduce neurogenesis, the birth of new brain cells, particularly in the hippocampus, where you need them most. Your brain is supposed to grow new cells throughout your entire life. Chronic stress turns that process off. Studies on chronically stressed individuals show up to 20% reduction in new neuron production in key brain regions. Less neurogenesis means slower thinking, weaker memory, harder emotional recovery. a brain that ages faster than it should. And then stress attacks your brain through a second door, your sleep. And this is where the damage accelerates dangerously. Cortisol and sleep are natural enemies. High cortisol at night keeps your brain in alert mode, unable to enter deep restorative sleep. During deep sleep, your brain runs a biological cleaning cycle, washing out toxic waste proteins that accumulate during the day when stress steals your deep sleep. That cleaning cycle never runs. Toxic proteins build up, brain function degrades faster. Scientists now believe this buildup of toxic proteins, accelerated by chronic stress and poor sleep, is directly linked to Alzheimer's disease. That is not a distant risk. That is the biological consequence of years of unmanaged stress playing out inside your skull right now. Here's what makes this so dangerous. Stress damages the exact brain regions that help you manage stress. A damaged hippocampus cannot regulate cortisol properly, so cortisol stays high, which damages the hippocampus more. It is a biological trap. A weakened prefrontal cortex cannot calm your amygdala, so your amygdala stays hyperactive, which keeps your prefrontal cortex suppressed. Another trap. This is why people who have been chronically stressed for years feel like they cannot get better, even when the external stress is gone. But here is the truth that neuroscience has also confirmed: the brain is not a fixed organ. It is plastic. It can change. It can heal. When chronic stress is reduced, cortisol levels fall. The hippocampus begins to recover. Neurogenesis switches back on. Studies show that consistent mindfulness meditation physically increases gray matter in the prefrontal cortex within just 8 weeks. Regular physical exercise increases BDNF, a protein that acts like fertilizer for your brain cells, directly reversing stress damage. Deep sleep, protected and prioritized, allows the cleaning cycle to run, toxic proteins to clear, and damaged regions to restore. Social connection, genuine human connection, lowers cortisol levels faster than almost any other intervention science has found. Your brain built up this damage over months and years. It will not reverse overnight, but every single day you manage stress is a day your brain begins to rebuild. The stress you feel today is not just in your head, it is reshaping your head, and you have more power over that than you have been told. You are not weak for struggling with stress. You are human, but now you know what is actually at stake, and that changes everything. Your skull holds the most complex and precious thing in the known universe. Protect what is inside it, starting today.